Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Coach Andrew here with another Ask Coach Andrew question. In this segment we're going to be answering a question submitted from a friend, and he tells me that he and his girlfriend have been together for 5.5 years and she just doesn't want to get married. She's just not ready, she's not sure what she wants, and he's like, what do I do, man? What do I do? Like, I love this girl, she loves me, the relationship is good, but she just doesn't want to like take the leap and tie the knot, right? So, look, I'm gonna give myself a little disclaimer here because I'm not a relationship coach, right? I'm a fitness coach, I'm a business coach, not a relationship coach. I don't know if I would make a great relationship coach or a terrible one because I have a great relationship. I have a wonderful family. My wife is amazing. She's my high school sweetheart. She's the only woman I have ever been with my entire life. And we like never fight. The reason our relationship is like this is because our values are perfectly aligned. We're always willing to compromise each other, and we're like polar opposites, right? So you look at my personality, she is almost the exact opposite in every single way. So we complement each other, we fit together like puzzle pieces, and God, I just love her, and things are great. My relationships are good. So that being said, I don't know if that makes me the best person to ask for advice when it comes to problems like this, because these are problems I have never had to confront. But what I can do is I can give you my perspective on what a good relationship should entail, what my good relationships entail, and perhaps you can compare that side by side with your relationship and maybe come closer to diagnosing what could be missing, what could be wrong in your relationship, and then you can try to figure out what to do about your girlfriend who doesn't want to marry you. So the first thing I want to point out is that good relationships are the most important thing to human psychology in existence, right? So there's a study. You can watch TED Talks, there's YouTube videos about it. I do not remember the name of the study. I believe it was conducted at Harvard, but it is the longest running study on human beings. I think it started following people when they were teenagers, and every 2 years they get a set of questions, and it asks them about their job, their social status, their economic status, their relationships, their family, medical conditions, lifestyle, diet. It follows like everything. And I'm pretty sure that this study has been going for like over 70 years now or something like that. I watched a TED Talk about it like last week, so I don't remember all the numbers exactly. But the one big takeaway that I do remember from the presentation is that the best predictor of success or failure in this entire study, and there were thousands of people in this study, the number one predictor of whether or not a person would be financially, medically, economically, socially successful was whether or not they had good, close, reliable relationships. The number one predictor of mental illness, disease, early death, poverty was people who had bad relationships. Like, take that in for a second. People who had missing parents, parents who were emotionally or physically abusive, people who had divorces or bad marriages. In fact, the people who were in a marriage that was toxic or emotionally abusive actually had worse results than people who had divorces. So staying in a bad relationship is actually worse for you than a divorce. I mean, the results were crazy. And like I said, I don't remember all the numbers, so I'm not going to go too deep. But the big takeaway is this. Like, your relationships are everything. When you poll, like, the average American, they're always like, oh, I want to be rich. I want to be famous. But, like, people just don't understand how important good relationships are. And I'm talking about, like, your best friends. I'm talking about your friends, your family, your parents. And I'm especially talking about your girlfriend, your fiance, your spouse, right? And your children. Those relationships are super, super important. And if they're toxic, your life is toxic. So now that we understand that little fact, which should be considered by literally everyone watching this video, let's go back to your question, my friend. What do you do since your girlfriend doesn't want to marry you? Well, the first thing that I would suggest is that the two of you sit down and you take an inventory of your values. Now, there's a couple ways you can do this. The easiest way would either be to get a therapist or to go online and take some personality tests. Take them alone, don't influence each other, don't look at your answers when you're taking them, but both of you need to take it, print out your results, and sit down and seriously have a conversation about who you are as people, who you want to be, right? What kind of life you picture for yourself, and your values. What things are important to you? Some people value variety. Some people want to travel around the world, meet new people. Other people like security. They want to stay inside and, have a nice little savings fund. Some people want to go out and become famous and be really significant, change lives, build a company. Other people just want, certainty. They want to be employed somewhere with a stable job, get good benefits, right? And there's all of these different things that you guys are going to have to balance throughout the rest of your life. And if your girl doesn't know what she wants, well, she's going to have to figure that out, right? Because she'll never be able to settle down with anyone if she doesn't have a clear picture of what she wants. That being said, do you know what you want, my friend? Do you know what you want from your life? Who are you right now? How much self-awareness do you actually have about yourself? What are your flaws? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What things are you really good at? What things do you want to be really good at? And what things do you just freaking suck at, right? You have to be aware, because we all have things that fill those categories. And if you're not self-aware, there's no way you're going to be able to be aware of who your girlfriend is. If you can't take inventory of yourself, you have no business taking inventory of other people. So sit down with her, do whatever you need to do to write down your values, write down your vision for the future, and really have a hard, serious conversation about what that looks like for the two of you. Are you going to have kids? Do you want to buy a home? Where do you want to live? Do you want to stay close to your family, or are you trying to get away from them? What kind of job do you want to have? When do you want to retire? What kind of car do you want to drive? What kind of countertops do you want? And what color are you going to paint the bathroom? These are questions that you're going to have to confront, right? And a lot of times it pays just to say, look, you can take care of what color the bathroom is. You can choose the countertops. I'll take care of the car. I'll make sure we have enough money. If we're going to have kids, I'm going to definitely need your help doing this, and I'll make sure that this gets done. Because relationships are just a balancing act. It's a hierarchy. I'm about to get a little controversial here. Okay, so buckle your seatbelts. If I was to say something like modern day feminism, modern day social justice, and the way it promotes perfect equality between the sexes, between people, between literally everyone on the planet, is a bunch of nonsense because equality of outcome is nonsense, how angry would you get? Figure that out and hold it right here, because it's a bunch of nonsense, right? Equality of opportunity is great. I believe every single person on the planet should have the same opportunities. However, you cannot expect nor write legislation to force everyone to have the exact same outcome, regardless of the opportunity. And a relationship is the same way, right? There are hierarchies in relationships. No matter how hard I try, I will never be able to breastfeed one of my babies. Therefore, my wife will always have an advantage with the babies. And if you've never had a baby, and you're a man, and your wife breastfeeds, I challenge you to try to get a 3-month-old baby to like you as much as it likes its mother. Not gonna happen. Same can be said for virtually everything else in a relationship. Who cooks, right? Who cleans? Who does all the work? Who earns more money? Who gets the pension? All of these things are questions that you're gonna have to ask. You're gonna have to talk about these things with your partner, because you're never going to be in a place where both of you are 100% equal in every single way and you get the same slice of every single pie. Because if you do that, there's no point in a relationship. You could have a relationship with anybody. What makes a relationship special is the way that each partner complements the other. This means that partners have different strengths and different weaknesses. It acts like a counterbalance. I don't recommend being with someone who has the exact same values as you, the exact same ambitions, the exact same personality. I think that's poisonous, because you guys will start competing with each other, even if you're not competitive. But good relationships complement each other. So if you can really sit down and dig into your values and talk about what you want and the vision you have for your future, you'll actually be able to compare yourselves and see oh, in what ways do we complement each other and in what ways do we detract from each other, right? And that's the conversation that leads to forming a picture of your future that includes the other person and their perspective. Because so many of us, we have our own picture of the future. And when we think about the future and we think about our ideal higher selves, we're only thinking about ourselves. We don't think about the way that that affects other people who are close to us. And the truth is, if you're going to be married, if you're going to be in an intimate relationship, your ideal self is going to affect that other person. The way that you change, the visions you have for yourself, right? If you want to get really fit, you want to get 19-inch biceps and have a six-pack, that's going to affect your partner, right? You might make her incredibly insecure if you do that. If you get into really good shape and she doesn't, you might make her feel like shit. And I bet a lot of you who are, dreaming of one day being a fitness model have never thought about that. And it's the same with everything else in your life. Your career, whether or not you want to have kids, what your house is going to look like. All of these things are connected by a web of your relationships. And unless you have incredible self-awareness and you're also aware of the people around you and what they value, you're never going to be able to pull all these things off without messing up. And sometimes you can have pretty big mess ups. So that's my best advice for you, friend. You need to really sit down, take inventory of yourself, figure out who you are and who you want to be, and then have your girlfriend figure out who she is and who she wants to be, and then you guys got to talk about it. You have to talk about it and make sure that your current selves fit together in a way that complements each other, in a way that you can support her and she can support you without too much conflict, and you can both push each other and support each other as you move toward your future selves, your ideal selves that you have envisioned for one another. If you can fit together now and push each other into a better future for both of you, then you have the potential for a long-lasting relationship. And then you have to make sure that those ideal selves, the vision for the future that both of you have, you got to make sure it fits together, right? You got to make sure it fits together and it locks in place. And if you can do that, then life becomes, instead of this broken, confusing, dark forest that you can't really navigate through, life just becomes like a staircase or like a trail up a mountain, and the two of you can do it together. Life should never be a flat road, right? You should always be trying to climb up. Key advice right there. If you're going to have a partner, they better support you, and you better support them. But with all that being said, I mean, that's my suggestion right there. And with all of that being said, your girlfriend might be the type of person to say something like, I don't know. Or, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I'm ready for. I don't know who I am. And if that's the case, things become a little more complicated. For some reason, it seems like women have a harder time with this than men. I'm not entirely sure if that's true. This is purely anecdotal. But from my experience, and from having lots of male friends who have told me stories, it sounds like a lot of women kind of struggle with their identity, and they're not entirely sure what they want. Now, I can't tell you what's causing this. I think men struggle with the same thing probably just as often, if not more. Maybe we just don't talk about it as much. But there is an identity crisis today, and I think it stems from the way our society portrays people in the media and the way people portray themselves on social media. Everyone's always trying to be perfect. And I think it causes a lot of confusion in the youth. I think young people don't really know what they're supposed to want. Because back in the day it was like, oh, I want a family and kids. And nowadays it's like having a family and kids isn't really all that cool. And a lot of people like getting married isn't that cool. Some people are like, don't even bother having a job, just travel, buy a van and go travel. And so I think a lot of people just don't really know what they want. That's a big problem. And if your girlfriend's like that, you're going to have to confront that with her, because if she doesn't have clarity about her future, then there's no way that you can compare your future to hers. And the whole relationship just becomes a gamble. And I can't tell you what the odds are. They're probably not that good. I think you can fall in love with just about anybody, but the number of people that you can actually have a successful, productive relationship with is a lot smaller. And it really just depends on their ability to change and their ability to compromise. And if she can't take inventory of herself, if she can't look into herself and take a deep, hard look at who she is and what she wants, and she can't identify her values, then there's nothing for you to do, right? You're a puzzle piece and she's like a little pile of jello, and you're not going to fit together until she hardens up and becomes another puzzle piece. So if that's the case, if she can't decide on her values and she can't figure out what she wants, she's still a child, right? I mean, metaphorically speaking, she is still a child. And if she doesn't know who she is or what she wants, then she hasn't experienced enough of the world. She hasn't gone through enough pain, or maybe she's gone through too much pain and she's using that as a shield to protect herself from growing up, right? And we all know that's not going to work. She probably hasn't learned that yet. So again, if your girlfriend's a child and she hasn't decided what she wants or who she is, your only choice then becomes, do you stick around and wait to see what happens? Or do you leave and move on and find a mature woman who actually knows who she is and knows what she wants and can have real adult conversations with you and potentially have a real relationship with you? That's the question. If your girlfriend won't sit down and talk about values with you, then you have to make that choice on your own because she is no longer part of the equation. And you have to decide if you want to be her parent until she becomes a child. My personal recommendation would be to simply look at how much time and energy you've spent on the relationship. Look at how close you are. Take a hard look at the memories you have. And then ask yourself, how much more energy and time would it take to redo that with another person who's more mature? Things would probably move quicker. You're older now. A new relationship could probably move at a faster pace and get somewhere meaningful quicker. But is that worth leaving everything you have with this girl behind? That would be the ultimate question. So this video went a little longer than I thought it would, but I really hoped that helped because I wanted to give you the fullest perspective that I possibly could. Again, I'm not a relationship coach. I really never even participated in the dating scene. I've been with one woman my entire life, and my relationship is perfect in my opinion. So everything I just told you is from that perspective. So take it with a grain of salt, compare it to what other people say, and I really wish you the best of luck because you, along with everyone else on this planet who is concerned about the future and is a good person, deserves to have good relationships. And if you're actually thinking about your relationship at this deep of a level and you're trying to figure it out, then you're ahead of the crowd already. And I really, really wish you the best of luck. And I hope you're able to figure it out, my man. So anyways, this has been an episode of Ask Coach Andrew. If you have questions about relationships, business, fitness, self-development, mindset, or success, leave them in the comments or send it to my email. That's down in the description. I will answer them in a video. You can also check out my website, which is www.andrewwoolner.com to learn more about me, what I do, what types of services and products I offer. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I appreciate each and every one of you. We'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.